Hey there, it's Ian Cantle from Dental Marketing Heroes and Outsource Marketing, and I wanted to share with you an interesting topic that's coming up more and more. It's related to AI and SEO, search engine optimization. There's a lot going on in the marketplace right now. There's a lot of buzz about AI, and rightfully, AI is absolutely amazing. You can do some amazing stuff with it. The interesting thing that I find is that there's a lot of buzz about SEO, people abandoning it and going to AI search. And what's misleading about this is that the impression that people are getting, the impression like you and me and business owners and practice owners, is that people have abandoned traditional search like Google search, and they've gone to AI search like ChatGPT and some others. This is absolutely not true, and I'll share why it's not true. And so today we'll look at AI and SEO, what you need to know to attract new clients and patients in 2025 and 2026. Of course, things are evolving quickly, and I will update this at a regular basis. So let's first of all look at what search is all about, because this is a really important concept to understand. First of all, on the left, we have a person with a problem. Someone has a problem, they need a solution to it. In this particular case, this person has a toothache. And they're like, man, I need to fix this problem immediately. So they go onto Google, they search, they look for a dentist, and they find the dentist, they go to the dentist, they get their problem solved. So you've solved their problem, and you are now their go-to solution provider. So that's usually how search works. Let's look at it in a little bit of a deeper manner by looking at how people searched in the last 2 years and how that's evolving and changing today. So 2 years ago and before, people searched for answers on Google. They had a problem. They Googled it, and we're talking the stat was 96+%. They would go to Google, they would search for it, they would find their answer, they would contact the company. Very high statistics on getting action, especially for local businesses like dentists and other businesses like that. So how are people searching today, and how is it different? People still are searching for answers. They still need their problem solved. And so now they're going to Google still, and I'll share some statistics in a minute. They go to AI engines, answer engines like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Meta, right? There's lots of choices right now. There's no clear winner at this point, although ChatGPT is way out in front from an AI standpoint, an AI only standpoint. But there's also some interesting latest statistics that people are also using both. And the interesting thing is as well is that Google is both, right? They have a lot of skin in the game to lose. And we'll look at a statistic now, and I think you'll find it eye-opening because not a lot of people are talking about this. And this is the latest statistic I could find with the help of ChatGPT, of course. But here is the breakdown of how people are searching for businesses. This is B2B, this is B2C. There are some variances between the two of those and local businesses, but it's not that far off. So 94% of people are still using Google. That leaves 6% for AI and Bing. Bing has shrunk down a little bit. So I want you to take a second and digest that just for a second. Because this is certainly not a story that you're hearing very often, especially from the marketing companies that want you to invest more in AI and less in SEO. Super fascinating, right? I work in this field, and I'm a little bit mesmerized and stunned that so many marketers are focused on the AI side while abandoning the Google side. And we'll talk a bit about that. Another piece of data I wanted to share with you. This is from Ahrefs Web Analytics, which is an authority in the space of SEO and AI traffic analytics. And they tracked over 82,000 websites. And this was from June, July timeframe of this year. And they found that the percentage of website traffic by source looked like this. You can get a sense for just the percentage of traffic and how much Google owns of that right now. And one thing you should be aware of as well is that direct traffic does not always mean it's not organic traffic. It just means that they can't determine where it's from. And so quite often when we've looked at this, we found that a large percentage of direct traffic is actually organic. It just wasn't tracked properly. But you can see the next closest one is Facebook. And then if we go all the way down here, we see that ChatGPT, which is by far the most dominant AI large language model at the moment, has a very small percentage of traffic. What's interesting is when we look at all the traffic of our clients, the highest percentage of traffic from AI large language models to a website that we've actually tracked so far is less than 2%. In fact, most of the time it's around 0.2%. And so that's something to keep in mind, that LMMs, especially for local businesses or B2B businesses, are not generating a heck of a lot of traffic to the websites at this point. But the single most important question for your business right now is, where does the data come from? And where are people searching for you? And part of this relates to what you can do as a business in order to get found on SEO, that 94%, on Google, and on the AI engines, which includes Google Gemini, of course, because that shows up in the Google results now. But what I want you to see, and I could have gone through and highlighted some of these, but I think you can just scan the list and take a look at it and go, okay, there's a lot of different places that Google has looked for information related to my business, my services, my practice, that I needed to do in order to outrank the competition. And that's really important. There's things like reviews on top of this and so much more. But on the left side, you'll see from an SEO standpoint, not only do you have your website, your Google Business Profile, your structured data like schema, your sitemaps, your product feeds, press releases, publishers, government and education links to your website, directory citations like Yelp, Better Business Bureau, Health Grades. There's so many out there. Social media, right? Knowledge graph, Wikipedia. There's so much. But what's also interesting on the Google side is that Google owns Google Business Profiles, which is the best business directory on the web. You have YouTube, which is the second largest search engine next to Google on the planet, right? More people use YouTube after Google than any other search engine now. You have Google Ads, which is another repository of information for Google to use related to keywords, topics, how people are searching for things, right? Lots of information there. And you have Google Analytics, which is on almost every single website in the world. And what you have to remember is all of these things, all of the things I've highlighted there on the bottom, are Google independent, meaning only Google has access to the backend data of these. And only Google can tap into the data in those platforms in order to help you find what you're looking for. So they have a huge strategic advantage over AI engines that are getting their information from some of the same places and some other unique places. So let's look at the AI side now. And remember, Google has an AI as well. So it hasn't abandoned AI, or it hasn't ignored AI to continue with SEO. It's made this combination. So there's kind of two sections in the AI side. There's base training data, and then there's live retrieval layers. As you've probably heard, most AI engines have done these massive data dumps in order to capture information. And so that's why when ChatGPT first came out, the data was like two years old, right? And they didn't update that on a very regular basis. And then they've done a recent scrape of data and they've got more recent information, but it has these snapshots of time. And so they're not at the point where it's live data. And right, we all have experienced that. There was a time when you'd ask, who's the president of the United States? And you wouldn't get the current one, you'd get the past one because it wasn't trained on the most recent information. So as you scan down this list, you'll notice that there are a lot of similar places that AI engines get information as Google. And so in order to tap into that as a business, in order to show up in both SEO, Google, and AI engines, your business has to have representation in these places to become an authority in the eyes of the AI engines or the algorithm/AI engine on the Google side. And at the core of all this is your website and schema. So I want you to take away from this the two big ideas is your website is the hub of all the information that you share, but there is a host of other things that you should be doing for showing up at the time someone is searching for your product or service in order for them to choose you. And specifically from an AI side, in order for the AI to present you as an option. So here's what we're looking at now is not SEO, not AI. What I would call it, and what's being passed around as a term for this, is Omnisearch. So the 3 rules of Omnisearch success for your business is to be findable. First of all, your information needs to be findable. You need to have a website. It needs to be built properly. It needs to have lots of information about the product, services, and your business. It needs to have technical SEO elements that are properly done because this affects your SEO now, and for sure it's going to affect what happens with AI because AI is just going to get smarter. It needs to have structured data, this schema backend information in order to help the AI engines and Google understand your business and connect the dots, right, with the person that's searching with your business. And you need to have a strong local presence online. So first you need to be findable. Next, you need to be useful. AI engines, and Google has always had this philosophy too, you need to be useful. You need to be providing value. You need to create yourself as an expert in the field. You need to be authoritative. You need to be original. You need to have clear content that not only solves real problems, but connects the dots between the questions that people are asking online, whether it's through Google or whether it's through ChatGPT, it doesn't matter. You need to be providing the authoritative answers to those questions, to those problems. So you need to be findable, you need to be useful, and now you need to be credible. You need to build true consistency. You need to be creating valued content consistently now at a much higher pace than ever before. You should have been creating fresh content monthly for Google. And now you need to be creating fresh content at an even faster pace for AI engines. You need to still focus on citations. In fact, there's a resurgence in this side of SEO because for AI answer engines, it's become even more important. And you need to have engagement, right? People need to be engaging with your website, with your content on whatever platform. So you need to get omnipresent search working for you because it will create more visibility for your business. It'll attract more patients. It'll grow your revenue. It'll create more growth and ultimately give you greater equity and valuation in your practice or your business. So how do you get started? Super easy. It all starts with a conversation with me. We'll pick up the phone or have a Zoom call. We'll connect. You'll share where you're at today. I'll share how we can help. And then if you think there's a fit, and if I think there's a fit, we'll move forward with a free strategy session where I'll do some homework related to your business and how it's showing up online on both SEO and AI engines. I'll create a custom proposal for you. And then if you think it's a great fit, we will move forward. Simply scan the QR code, book a free conversation with me, a discovery call, and we'll get things moving forward for you. I sincerely wish you all the best in the growth of your business. Remember, don't always follow the hype. Dig into the data. Find out what's actually happening today. Data insights drive decision making. Have yourself a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye for now.